As a bow hunter, I used to believe that rain would wash your scent away. And that essentially was a free pass for you to be able to go out, hang some tree stands, mock scrapes, trail cameras, even some last minute scouting, and that the rain would give you a free pass. And you know what? And after some observations, looking back at trail cameras, and then especially talking to some canine officers as well as deer dog trackers, I no longer believe that to be true. So today I'm going to go over my theory on why I believe light to medium rain does not wash your scent away. So let's go over that right now. So real quick, let's talk about scent molecules and moisture. So scent molecule, if it falls off of your body and lands on the ground, a leaf, a tree, the bark, whatever it might be, and moisture comes along, the moisture actually hits that scent molecule and it sucks it right up. It actually pulls it or attracts it within that water droplet or that water molecule, okay? And it holds it in place. It keeps it from moving around. Now, the opposite is true if you happen to have a scent molecule and there's no moisture. Let's just say 0% moisture around. That scent molecule is free to roam wherever it might. And this is why when you hear deer trackers out there talk about the toughest conditions are dry and windy days, okay? That's what's going on. That scent molecule, that wind can come by. It is so dry out there, it can fly wherever it may be. And it really makes it hard for the dogs, and essentially in this case, deer, to be able to pick it up. So with that being said, moisture, cool, is best for scent, picking up scent. Dry and windy conditions are the worst for picking up scent, and it makes it much harder for deer and dogs to be able to pick up any of that scent. Let's go over the olfactory sensory cells of humans, dogs, and deer. As humans, we have about 5 to 7 million of these cells. Dogs have about 200 million, and deer have about 300 million. So deer essentially have 1/3 more than our canine friends out there. And with that being said, we know that whatever dogs can pick up, we know definitely that deer can pick up as well. The other thing I want to mention in regards to these rainy conditions like we have right now, it's got a light to medium rain, okay, is that the air is much more dense, creating everything to fall and compact closer to the ground. And essentially scent molecules that are maybe floating around, they're being compressed. And then obviously with the moisture component, the rain catching onto the scent molecule and holding it in place, all right? So let's just do a little experiment in regards to that and see how much of a difference that makes with, well, milkweed. Now, we have a little air current. I can see some of the trees up there moving just a little bit. But what ends up happening though, for the most part, and we're gonna see the experiment right now, I'm gonna put some milkweed out there, and that milkweed should get compressed and almost either stay within the area or just go straight down, or both, all right? So let's take a look at that right now. All right, I got a little bit of the milkweed, so let's just put that milkweed out and let's just see what happens when we put the milkweed out on this rainy day. Basically going straight down. And if you look up in the trees, I'm not sure if you can see that. I'm gonna zoom in on that tree right there. We have a little wind going on, all right? So, in these damp conditions, all right, humidity, everything is heavy. It brings it straight down. Same thing with our scent molecules, all right? It brings it straight down to the ground. So if you walk through an area and you have scent molecules that maybe have hung on some brush, some sticks, some leaves, whatever it might be, they're not getting blown around and being dissipated, all right, and being dispersed, okay? They're essentially going to get brought straight down onto the ground and condensed, okay? So let's just kind of keep that in mind, and let's go on to the next experiment. So folks, we're going to do a little experiment here. We have a light to medium rain going on right now, and you know what, being in the dairy state, we always have plenty of milk. So what this milk is going to do, it's going to represent my scent, or essentially scent in general. I'm going to apply it on the ground here, and we're going to give it an hour. And let's just see if this light to medium rain washes the milk or scent away, all right? So Let's put a little bit of this on the ground right now. All right, let's just give this about an hour or so, and let's just see where this all dissipates, all right? This is going to represent our scent. So while that milk is doing its thing here in the rain, there's one thing I want to talk about right now, and you know, even when it's raining here in the woods, not everything gets wet, and I think this is a little component that a lot of people miss when they think rain washes their scent away, all right? So let's go over that right now. So folks, I have some vegetation right here. You can see that this is all wet. And let's take this leaf right here. We're going to turn this leaf over. It's wet on top. And it is completely dry. There is no moisture at all under here. It feels maybe a little damp, but it's definitely not soaked or dripping wet on the bottom of the leaves. Once again, let's just take another look. Got some more leaves. We got some right here, wet on top. We're just going to turn these over. And a little wet on the edges, but in the middle, that's completely dry. Wet on the edges, dry in the middle. So as you can tell, underbrush, even during an all-day rain, and like I mentioned earlier, we had almost an inch of rain today, is not all wet or super soaked even. Pant legs, shirt, whatever might touch and rub underneath those leaves, and then as you walk past it, those leaves roll back, and deer can easily smell that. Matter of fact, a lot of my trail cameras, after I get done making a mock scrape or set up a trail camera, you'll notice that deer don't always put their nose to the ground. They're smelling that surrounding vegetation as you walk through it, okay? And essentially, if you think about it, that scent is actually hiding underneath those leaves, all right? All right, let's go over and look at that little experiment we did with the milk. It's been about an hour and 5 minutes technically later. Now let's just see what this light to medium rain that we've had and see what happened to this milk. There is some milk residue still on here yet. Not much, but just a little bit. So 1 hour later, the milk is still here. As a matter of fact, let's do another experiment. Lily, come over here. Come on, little girl. Hey, right here. Right here. Oh yeah, the milk is still there. Lily verified. Good job, little girl. So light rain, medium rain, heavy rain. What is the difference between all three? Well, if you think about it, it's actually very subjective. I think if you'd even Google it, you're gonna get all these different answers. So for me, my theory, and this is my theory, light rain and medium rain, deer can still smell you. Heavy rain, no, they cannot. And what constitutes heavy rain for me? Heavy rain for me is when you see water moving, okay? So if you look down on the forest floor, or let's just say your lawn at home, and you see that water actually moving away, wherever it might be, even a little bit of a trickle stream, to me, that is heavy rain. You know, and the deer trackers with dogs, they say the same thing. Light rain, medium rain, their dogs still do very well. But when it comes to that heavy rain, they will say that that does wash, for the most part, scent away from their dogs, okay? So that's how I determine light rain, medium rain, and heavy rain. And once again, this is just my theory. Doesn't mean that it's scientific, doesn't mean that you even have to listen to me in regards to this. But over the years, from my experience, from looking at trail camera, video, and photo, and then talking to canine officers as well as canine deer trackers, okay? Rain totally does not wash your scent away like a lot of people think it does. So knowing what I know now, how does this change the way I maybe go after deer, big bucks, scouting, so on and so forth? Well, you know, I used to wait midsummer to late summer for that big rainstorm to come in, and And then I'll just try to time it perfectly to go out and do that work as far as hanging stands, trail cameras, the whole 9 yards, all right? Now, I don't worry about that anymore. Matter of fact, for me, earlier is better. The earlier you can get out and get those mock scrapes, the earlier you can get out those tree stands, whatever it might be, all that work that has to be done, earlier is better in that regards. Now, another thing I like to mention is I like virgin sits. So I bounce around a lot to a bunch of different properties, so on and so forth. Even if I'm after one buck on a particular property, very seldom do I sit in the same tree stand twice. Now, under my old idea, okay, that I could essentially get by, sit, get by with a rainstorm, and then I could sit again and essentially get 2 virgin sits out of an area, I no longer believe that to be true, okay? I still count, whether there's a rainstorm right after that sit or not, that still counts as 1 virgin sit for me, all right? So those 2 little concepts right there have changed for me in regards to rain. Is it a big deal? Maybe or maybe not. But as far as washing the scent away, once again, light to medium rain, I don't believe that to be true. Heavy rain, yes, I do believe it to wash your scent away. Well, folks, if you don't mind, please hit that subscribe button. And you know what? I am soaked. I don't know if you can see that all or not. But I got to get back to the truck here with Miss Lily, dry off. So if you don't mind, for me getting a little wet today, I would truly appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. And until next time, Clint and Lily from Oakland Iron Outdoors.